So that one, it's been on the market for a while. And I do think it's interesting because right now it's one lot, but it can be broken up into three lots and then have row houses put on them in a super, super sweet neighborhood right downtown Steamboat. And adjacent from them is five, $6 million houses all on that road. And that property is like an absolute just garbage dump pretty much. And if you bought the property, you need to bulldoze the house in the middle, and then you could divide the parcels out from there and build on it.
Oh man, that wouldn't be too bad of a deal, honestly. Just buy the one house in the property and subdivide the land and then just build three little 3 bedroom, 4 bedroom houses.
Yeah, that'll sell for each more than $2 million.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
dude, Mo, when do you want to get started on this PowerPoint? Carson's about to jump on. We could just record it and whoever missed it, missed it.
okay.
Um, I would say like just wait like 2 more minutes.
Yeah, we can do that.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going, man. All right, guys. So really today is more of a case study thing. Not we're getting out of the get to know you stage. So we're gonna go ahead and do a case study on a flip that Darwin just closed on about 2, 3 months ago. And just felt like it was one of the better things to do to kind of add some value to you guys so you have a better understanding of everything going on. So if you guys have any questions, comments, anything like that, don't hesitate to speak up. It's just an open group, open conversation. So go ahead, Mo. All right. So really the big key factor that I wanted to touch on with this case study is relationships. They're extremely important in real estate. Without having this relationship with our realtor, Kristen Wright, we would never been able to find this deal and see it able to go full cycle. So really just keep on networking. Yes, some people might not be the best people you're looking for, but eventually you'll come around, find somebody that you know and connect them with each other and add value that way. All right, so the property we looked at is 8624 Capri Street in Dallas, Texas. Northeast of Dallas, close to White Rock Lake, and comps in this area were, they're decently priced. There's room for money to be made. So the comps in that area between 390 and 550 on the high side. So great target location, and we'll get more into the deal itself. All right, so our target property 8624 Capri. 3-bed, 2-bath house, 12,000 square feet, and built in 1960. So it's an older one. Some of the notes. So originally the owner, the seller, wanted the property for 275 cash. We were able to go in, negotiate down to 250. So that adds a little bit more to our bottom line. So once we got the offer accepted at 250, we had to put up about $3,300 in earnest money. And earnest money, for those of you that don't know, is just, it's hard money. It's, if you can't close on the deal, then, you lose it pretty much. Right, Noah Carson?
Yeah.
Yep. So, next slide. And so when you're dealing with lenders, and in this case, Darwin used a hard money loan from a group that we know fairly well that does most of our hard lending on all of our flips. They require an inspection report and a title commitment. I can't stress this enough. Inspections are essential in any real estate transaction that you guys do. It gives you insight into what's wrong with the property, what needs to be fixed in order, to profit at the back end. So it really gives you an idea on, Noah, what you raising your hand for? Go ahead.
I was just going to say, and also if this is going to be a bad deal, this is also a huge chance for you to get out of it right here as well.
Yep. And it also you kind of gain some leverage with negotiating power when you go back to the seller. So title commitment. Noah, Carson, can you touch on title commitment for me? Because I had a hard time understanding that part. And I just looked up the definition.
Um, I I want to say it's more of it's your commitment to getting everything. So you know the definition says you have to provide it to the buyer and a lender before closing on a property. Um, so that way you can see everything that they're requesting. You know, see it says terms and conditions for a title, as well as any issues, exclusions. So exclusions, they don't want something or they do. So yeah, just
Just mostly negotiations on the
yeah,
title.
pretty much.
No, go ahead, boss.
Yeah, title commitment is three things. It's ownership, insurances, and encumbrances. So title commitment will show you who owns the property. It'll let you know if there's any issues with title, whether that's encumbrances from like liens, liens or loans like on properties, stuff like that. And then also this will show you your like property insurance, what you're paying for that. Typically in my state, Colorado, the seller is going to pick your insurance for the property. And so this is where it'll outlay all of that. It's a title commitment's typically a lot of really, really boring words um, that really good to know, and it's gonna save you when you have to use them. But it's really just gonna show that this person owns it. This is how much they owe. The property is okay, doesn't have any loans
Lean.
on
Yeah.
it. This is where they're going to find it. And then also here's your insurances, and that can be broken down into like several other policies and stuff, but that's the basis.
Awesome. Awesome. Gideon, Tyler, did you get that, guys?
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just
No questions, guys.
yeah, a little bit complex, but I'm trying to
Yeah,
wrap my head around it.
it's a little complex. This is the complex side of it, but Mo, you want to go ahead and go to the next one? All right. So November 3rd, 2022, we received notice that the house was now insured. Guys, I can't stress enough how important it is to have insurance during process like this. If you're flipping a house or anything like that. For one, I did a flip last year on a new build, and it was on the market for about 3 or 4 months when interest rates started spiking, and had a little minor water leak. And surprisingly, the house was not insured. I was stupid, so don't do that. Just go ahead and get insurance. In order for the lender, you got to have insurance, and you also have appraisal. The appraisal is important just because the lender wants to know that, hey, there's actually meat on the table. We're not overpaying, or you're not going to flip something and lose money on it. So appraisal came back at 490, and we're buying the property at 250. Mo, you want to go ahead and go to the next one?
You're buying the property. Does this like
No, that's the appraisal. That's the appraisal.
I got a
ahead.
question.
Go ahead, Tyler, or Gideon.
So the appraisal's like what they estimate the value is, right?
Yes, based on area comps on single family.
Okay, so y'all are paying like almost half the like what it could have been.
Yes, sir. That is correct. So it really, and it's all cash. So it's more attractive to the seller because it's close. So it's not waiting 30 days. You got to go through the loan origination, things of that nature. So pretty quick process. And a lot of people, especially when I see older people that live by themselves, then, they're just tired of maintaining the property. They want to take the cash and move on down the road. So
Okay.
here's just a couple of pictures of the interior of the house and the exterior before we even touched it. Very old, cramped space, no open concept, and all that. And originally, our rehab budget was 60,000. We took it up all the way to 85. So, Mo, you want to go ahead? Okay, so closing day and hitting the ground running. Closed on the property November 18th, 2022. That's pretty much the day you start implementing your business plan from the get-go. December 5th, about 20-30 days after renovations begin, demoing, knocking down walls, pulling up carpet, and then really finalizing our plans with what we want to do to the aesthetic of the property. For example, new kitchen cabinet colors, creating open floor concepts. We flipped one of the closets from one of the guest bedrooms into the master to create much needed space and allows for a larger master closet. So you got to kind of look at the building and the structure and the layout to try to optimize as much space as possible because it'll help you on the back end. December 13th, 90% of the property has been stripped of everything. So it's just down to the studs. And that's kind of where the whole hitting everything and rehabbing it goes into place. Okay, so hitting the market February 10th, renovations are completed. Property is now ready to hit the market. February 18th, Capri was officially listed for sale at $499. Following the listing, we had one offer contingency that ultimately fell through. Carson, since you were the listing agent on that side, do you want to kind of elaborate and go through all the nuances of representing a seller? Oh, you're mute, bro.
Bobby. So
you're good, man.
So basically, I got in. My mom is Kristen. So it was, man, my camera looks weird. So it was kind of a little bit easier for me to kind of get into it. I had a lot of help with the team and from my mom, just always being in my ear and letting me know, like, hey, this is about to happen next. This is about to happen next. I need you to get this ready. I need you to get this ready. So it was very easy to learn the process through that. I came in, and one of the first things that we do with listings is staging. My mom has a lady who does all of our staging, has a big warehouse. She did a fantastic job. All the reviews that we got from the house were that it was just great, really professionally staged. And then we did photos. We had a guy come out, take some pictures, advertise it. We did some advertisements with our Instagram page, and then we started doing open houses. The first day we did an open house, I probably had about 15 people come through. A lot of nosy neighbors, a lot of young couples. The second week we did an open house, a little bit less, but still heavy traffic. And then it was the third one that we kind of got slow, but I met somebody who ended up being our first offer. It was a VA loan, and they were trying to negotiate going probably, I want to say it was 25,000 below asking price. Now this agent was actually the neighbor who lived across the street from this listing. So anytime I had an open house, the second it would end, I'd get a text on my phone saying, "Oh, how was the open house? It looked slow today." Or, "How'd it go? It didn't seem like there were too many people," like as if he was just watching it the whole time. So I've heard from my team that that's not an experience that usually happens, but honestly, it was kind of good that I had somebody breathing down my neck because I was able to just try and stay on top of everything. We weren't in a position where we had to drop it $25,000 though. That just wasn't going to happen. There was so many things that went into renovations, and this just being such a big project with so many different people added into it, that there was just no way that we were going to budge on it. And so we let them know, and the agent wasn't too happy about it, but they walked away. Nobody was on bad terms at all. And then we just kept going with the open houses and advertisings. And then the next week we got another offer, but it wasn't for as much, but we countered and got them to get it full price. And the last day of the option period, about 2 minutes before 5 o'clock, they went ahead and pulled the plug. So we thought that we were going to be in with the second offer family that we had talked to, and that didn't end up happening. So I let the first agent know that we didn't go through with it, and if they wanted to revise their offer and try and send it through, because he was very persistent that his clients loved the house and that they wanted to do it and they wanted to work with us, which I really appreciate. And so I let him know, like, if you want this for them, I would strongly encourage, like, you got to come back with a great, or like, you got to get it to as close as listing as possible, because I'm telling you right now, like you won't get it, type thing. So we went through that process, and sure enough, they gave us listing price, and that was a blessing. And yeah, we went ahead and closed. There were a couple of things that needed to be touched up on when the inspector went through. I want to say it was an additional 10,000 in repairs. It was a roof, HVAC, wiring in the garage, a handle in the kitchen, just small stuff. But after all that, inspector came through and said everything was fine, and we closed and funded. So and that was my first listing. I don't think it was too complicated. I don't think that there was too many things that held us back or anything. It was a while on the market. It had passed over 50 days on the market, which isn't always a great look, but it's a house. Whoever's looking for that house will come and find it. So yeah, just had to play the waiting game with that one, and it really worked out.
Yeah, and especially right now with interest rates where they're at and everybody on the sidelines, it's not your typical when we went through COVID and you had houses on the market for one day and then it's already pending. So it's been a change in the whole dynamic of real estate, whether it's single family, commercial. It's a weird time. So it's not normal, but it's just part of life now, I guess. But go ahead to the next one, Mo. And so this is kind of what it looked like after we completed it. So in the kitchen was pushed back a little bit, right, Carson?
Yes, the kitchen was pushed back, not too far, but a little bit.
Yeah, and then originally the garage was an extra bedroom or a studio for the cellar, but did we convert that back to a garage?
Yes, so they had it was really a 1.5 that they had blocked off for a soundproof music studio. And we went ahead and knocked that wall off, put new floors in it, kind of an easy clean tile material that we also put on the back patio to kind of match. Yeah, really nice though.
Yeah, it turned out great for sure. And then closing statements. Really, I hate looking at these. Noah, Carson, you want to touch on any of that?
I don't. So I think for my team, we have a couple of people that work with sort of documents for us. So I don't know if I even had to touch this.
Is this more of a Christina?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, she sent it over. But yeah, so basically it's just the closing statements are just a breakdown of everything from seller's transaction for the sale price of the property, and then it just goes all the way down to your expenses associated with the sale of the property, taxes, real estate commissions, closing costs, et cetera, et cetera. And then once it's finally broken down, you get your calculation of how much you're going to get on the back end. So, from that, Darwin got about $109,000 off that flip, but you also have to take into account taxes and set aside money for that, so you're not hit next year during tax season.
Yeah, and it's pretty good general rule of thumb. Always keep a quarter of whatever you make in taxes. And kind of, I don't know, like Carson with you not really dealing with that. I know it looks like a bunch of like really scary numbers, guys, but it's like everything house related, what you're paying the agents, and it is super simple. But even though you can have like an amazing title company that you love, you trust, that closing statement, you're always going to get a rough draft of it like a week before you're closing, and go through, double check that, make sure your numbers are correct. Can't tell you how many times I've seen settlement statements, whether buyer or seller, be inaccurate, and like stuff like that. Maybe you can lose like, $1,000 or something. Maybe it's not the end of the world for someone, but you get into like bigger and bigger properties, like you can literally have six figures missing, and
Right.
it's a big deal. And so just curious, do you guys have any of the breakdown of what you were paying contractors, or is that in that 85K that you said for?
Yeah, if you look at that last slide of the summaries of transaction is, if you look at line item 4 for due from seller at closing, the payoff of first mortgage loan to Longhorn Investment was 338.
Okay,
So
yeah,
that 250 plus that 80 is included on that closing statement on that end.
gotcha,
So,
gotcha.
so that's all included on the loan that was paid off. So that was included on that.
Okay, sweet.
Was it just one contractor that did all the work?
Yeah, it was
Legacy?
Legacy, yeah. So a whole company that we work with, they do stuff on the properties, commercial and then single family as well. So
So instead of like you hiring an electrician to do this, that you just hire them, they go in and they do everything.
yeah, one full swoop.
I got a question.
Go ahead, man.
Did y'all hire someone to like kind of figure out the plan for the property as well? Or did you already kind of know what you wanted?
Well, we kind of already knew what we wanted. It really just depends on, I guess, the timing and the age of everything. With people our age, we want something that's nice, exquisite, white, bright, and all that. It really just depends. And you never can really go wrong with any white tile or subway tile or anything like that. But if you do choose, just make sure not to go outside the ordinary. That'll freak people out. Extreme colors don't do well.
Yeah,
If I can add something really quick, and the one of the other good things that the builder did with us is that when we were redoing the bathroom, we had a couple different choices of tile, and they would put all of them right next to each other in the bathroom. So we actually did a couple walkthroughs where we walked the property and saw it during the demo days, and we would go through and pick out what would look better, make some suggestions, go back or go forth. So it was a very open communication, kind of hands-on project too, which was really cool to see.
Gideon, Tyler, any more questions, guys?
I have one question.
Yeah, what's going on, man?
So I was just wondering who actually does the inspection? Was that the contractor, or did you guys hire somebody else to do that?
My assumption would be there's an inspection on both ends of the transaction. So at the start, when we bought it and we had the loan from Longhorn Investment Group, the hard money lender, they require an inspector. So it could be any inspector, I guess, or unless the lender requires you to use a specific inspector. On the back end, Carson, was the inspector recommended by us or by the seller? Did he find him?
The seller went ahead and
Got it.
hired an inspector.
at least in Colorado, an inspection is required for buyers. If you are getting a loan, if you aren't getting a loan, doesn't matter. But typically it's the buyer wanting to inspect everything, making sure that it's okay. But you can also have cases where the seller does an inspection. I know, like, if we get back into crazy COVID times of multiple offer situations, which like I'm starting to get to in my market, like sellers a lot of times will have an inspection of the property done beforehand. And then they can put that in their supplemental documents or something for you to grab.
Yeah, but I feel like if it's on a flip home that you just went through massive renovations for, you would need to get another inspection, especially as the buyer, to protect yourself.
Yeah,
Like
as
if
the
it's a
buyer.
brand new home, then it's a brand new home. Like the inspection was done by the builder, but yeah.
Well, I mean, any real estate transaction, you're going to need inspection no matter what, unless
Yeah.
it's just part of the negotiation process.
How did he actually find the property? Was he just looking on Zillow or what?
Carson, your mom found the deal, right? Oh, he's muted again.
We have a thing, it's called MLS. So we go through there, and I can type in a specific criteria. Before we do that, we have to get somebody pre-approved so that they can feel more comfortable shopping for what they can afford. Not because we don't want them in the best, nicest house, but we also don't want to screw them over. So that happens first, and then they tell us area, price, room, bathroom, blah blah blah, etc. And so then we will go in that database and search it. Zillow is kind of like the Wikipedia of MLS. Sometimes people put information in there that's not always correct.
This is what
so
it looks like.
that's basically the search bar that you enter in
Okay.
all the information, and then it'll pop up lists of houses. And from there on, you can see all the facts, the year, it's a way more detailed page than Zillow. So I want to say she just did that, gave him a few suggestions. He reached back out and they went from there.
Okay.
Well, based on your experience, Carson and Noah, like, Noah, I don't know if you see a lot of flips in Steamboat, but typically, do the 3-bedroom, 2-bath houses, the smaller ones, do better on flips versus the bigger ones? Like, 4,000, 5,000 square feet up. Do they do better return wise?
I would go ahead.
I was gonna make a joke saying based off HGTV, they do. So
You
yeah.
can't trust everything you see on TV now.
Yeah.
I would say it's at least, I don't know about better, but even in my mind, I would want to say it's safer. You regardless of how old the house is, if it's smaller, you're spending less money on it, and you can get it to a better place than even if you had a nicer, bigger house that didn't need as much, you're still spending more to cover all the square footage. So in terms of being fast and cost efficient and how many you can do at a time, I say small goes further than big for sure.
Yeah. Then it opens up clientele, opens up a little bit more with who wants a smaller house. You got older generations downsizing. You got people like us that want to buy and move into houses, but are not ready for that 4 or 5 bedrooms.
Or even just people who want to get a house for an investment property and rent it out to people who can't afford to fully buy one yet, or aren't in a position to.
Pretty much. Noah, what were you about to say, boss?
Mhm.
Never mind.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna kind of add on to maybe what you said a little bit of like I've never done a fix and flip in my marketplace that's kind of non-existent. But where you're able to do them other places, it might be kind of fair to say that the homes that you want to look at of building, you want to kind of look at like entry level homes for other people that are trying to get into stuff. And so from what I've seen, whether it's like you guys or other people out there doing it, seems like anything under 3,000 square feet, that's where your bang for your buck is. Like as soon as you start going bigger than that, immediately like you want nicer appliances, you want everything to be nicer, everything's bigger now. And like, I mean, you can still make money without a doubt, but I'll tell you right now, a 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,500 square foot home is going to be way easier to deal with than like a 3-bed, 2-bath, 3,000 square foot home. Cause now everything's bigger. You have to think more about a little bit more about design, but I mean, like it seems little, but it does make a big difference. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Garrett, but that's what I've
I-
seen.
All I think about is like, the bigger the house, the more expensive, and it
Yeah.
limits your clientele that's coming in because
Yeah.
not X amount of people. Because up in Steamboat, what is the median home like 6, 7, 800,000? So it kind of like, yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
it puts a damper on who can buy there and whatnot. So
Yeah, like where I live, median home price right now is 1.5 million or a little bit above. And so, I mean, like you won't even a fix and flip here in Steamboat, you would be paying more than 1 million and you would be going for trying to sell that thing for like 2 million or more. And it's a little different. A little different.
all right. Well, guys, we're running out of time right now. Anything you guys want to say, questions, anything like that? What do you guys want to see in 2 weeks? I've been thinking because Noah or not Noah, Tyler Gideon, have you guys heard of the Burr method?
No,
I haven't.
I haven't.
Okay. Then I think that's what it's going to be our subject in 2 weeks. So we can go
Okay.
over, so you guys get an understanding of how that process is and then go from there. Because Noah's been talking about it. I think he's been actually doing it with a couple of properties, right, Noah? Or you're trying to.
No, yeah, I was gonna say, no, I'm trying to buy a property that's way out of my price range right now. So we're doing that. But yeah, Burr method is a lot more towards creating long-term wealth and cash flow holding properties, and then fix or flip. That's quicker money.
Yeah.
Lot quicker money.
So, all right. Well, I'll go ahead and plan on that in 2 weeks, guys. So, but if you have any questions in the meantime or need anything, don't hesitate to shoot me a text, shoot me an email, answer any of your questions, or even get you connected with any of the people. So, just let me know, and I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Okay, guys.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you,
See
guys.
ya.
Sweet. Later, boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See you
Yeah.
later.